What the heck? How did I mess up my family tree so much? Ancestry is one of the largest genealogy family tree databases in the world. It's a great place to build or extend your family tree, but you can quickly create a big ol' mess if you're not careful. A messy family tree has duplicate images, inconsistent place names, numerous facts for the same events, or inaccurate facts. How do they get into your family tree? More importantly, how can you prevent this from happening in the future? Howdy, my name is Devin Noel Lee with Family History Fanatics, and I love helping people enjoy the journey of discovering their heritage through building a family tree. Today, I want to invite you to slowly and carefully build your family tree. For beginning genealogists, you will love this slow and steady walkthrough of adding details to your family tree with warnings on keeping things accurate and organized. Experienced Ancestry users, you might think this video is a little too basic. However, we can all use a refresher course to ensure we don't have to watch videos on how to clean up our family tree. If you're a beginning genealogist who hasn't built your family tree yet, did you know that Ancestry has several helpful tutorials on getting started? I want to direct you there if you have not created anything yet. Once you have started something, no matter how large or small, let's dive into building your family tree in an organized way. As much as I love Ancestry's hint feature in the upper right corner, I recommend working from a person profile page. If you're a beginning genealogist, I would also recommend you choose a more recent ancestor and work your way to the past. Review what you currently have available on this profile. In this case, I have Charles Patrick Moss. Notice I have no sources attached to this individual. I obtained this information from family sources. Now I want to validate that Charles is indeed married to Annie, or his parents are Austin and Mary Catherine. I have two choices. I could use the search box, or I can leverage hints. Since Ancestry's hints often offer low-hanging fruit, I would recommend you take a look at hints. I recommend that you ignore the member tree hints. If you want to look at them later in the research, that's fine. At the onset, ignore these hints by clicking the ignore button. Next, you may see some images that other users have uploaded to Ancestry. Some images may include portraits or candid photos or artifacts and documents. Use your discretion whether you want to save these images to your family tree or not. Some profiles has numerous copies of the same photo. Try to find out when the earliest photo was saved, because that might be the original person who uploaded the images. You might also see stories like this one for Charles's father. Unfortunately, this story is just another version of a death certificate, which isn't very helpful. However, some researchers share great stories that piece research details together. Review those to be sure and save the ones that do not add clutter to your family tree. After the photo hints, you may see hints for records available on Ancestry. This is where you want to spend most of your time building your family tree if you're using hints. Records are the backbone of accurate genealogy research. It's time to begin accepting this hint carefully so we don't mess up our family tree. So click on Review, and a side panel opens up, and you could work through the record saving process from here. However, I want more control over the saving option, so I'm going to click on the collection title. Sometimes this view has a few more details than the quick view had. Before you click yes here, please review the actual image. We can learn more about Charles from this record. But oh no, this record does not tell who provided the information. We will need to make a note of that just in case there are any mistakes. We can also see that his cause of death is an auto accident. How tragic. If after looking at the actual record, you are confident this source provides evidence about your relative, now you can click the yes button. Once you arrive on this page, it's time to slow down and carefully process the information from a record into your family tree. This is the place where your tree can become a muddled mess of epic proportions. Let's go over each detail step by step so we don't make mistakes. First, notice Ancestry points out that Charles's name is different from what is in your family tree. You can click on the boxes besides Charles's name to overwrite what is in your family tree. In this case, I do not want to do that and lose his middle name, Patrick. Next, we have the birth date in place. I appreciate that each field is separate. If you haven't resolved which birth date is accurate, you can click on the option to move that to your family tree. However, instead of clicking preferred, we're going to choose alternate. And now we have both dates that will be saved to our family tree. Next, for the place names. In a previous video, I discussed how to be consistent in place names. And here is the first place we could create a huge mess. I prefer historical place names. In this timeline, you see the location names for Tucson. I'm still unclear what county Tucson was in as part of the New Mexican territory, which is why it has an asterisk. However, I do know the historically accurate location for Tucson would be New Mexico territory. But I could add Tucson to the place now that I have a more specific location according to this record. You can overwrite the historical place names and use the modern one, or you can edit the one in your family tree with the new piece of information. In this case, the town of Tucson. So put your cursor where you would like to add the additional information. Notice how Ancestry will try to preload some other options for you, but this is acceptable and we can go ahead and click out of that field. When we click Save to your tree, those changes will be saved. Be mindful, Ancestry doesn't have a place name checker, so you could wind up with a host of different names if you're not careful. And then you'll have to go watch my video on how to clean up place names in your family tree using Family Tree Maker because it's faster. This is worth stating again. Place names are one of the biggest quagmire on the Ancestry platform, so please be thoughtful as you're adding places to your family tree. It doesn't matter if you use historical place names or the modern place names, which Ancestry seems to prefer. The thing you have to do is be consistent. Next, we have the death date, and notice the record has a more complete date and the tree has a partial date. So be sure to go ahead and overwrite that. We're going to put the check mark, keep it preferred, and now we're going to overwrite that date. Finally, we have Oraeb, Penal, Arizona, USA. I think that's how you say it. And then we have Oracle, Arizona. When you do a search for this place name, nothing comes up. So it doesn't exist. This is the one that is accurate. So we don't want to overwrite what is already in the tree. Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, this is all easy. It is easy, and because it's so easy, this is why so many trees are a big old mess. I just can't even tell you how troublesome they can be. And I also explain this because I found myself doing this again and again and again. I would add something to the tree, whether through hints or through a search and save to my tree, and I would go through this profile and I wouldn't be thoughtful and meticulous. And then my tree was a mess and I'd have to run the location cleanup or just deal with it. But I want to have an accurate family tree, don't you? So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to slow down and teach you all the trouble spots, because it can be easily overlooked because you're going fast or you're not being thoughtful. Another problem with place names is when Ancestry adds extra detail that doesn't necessarily help you very much. Precinct numbers change all of the time, and I don't particularly like to have electoral districts or precinct numbers. I like to have a place name and then everything else that's not mappable information, I like to put that in the description. Ancestry doesn't have a place details thing that you can have on Roots Magic. It would be nice if they did, but they don't. I zoomed in a little bit so that you can see this better. I'm going to highlight the precinct information. I'm going to delete any extra coding, and then I'm going to put precinct 1 in the description box. Again, you can have very messy locations if you are not mindful of what information is hanging out in this list. So we're going to head and take it out. What I also like is that notice Ancestry actually used a historical place name because it was recorded this way in the census record. And yet it really wants you to not use this because that's why all of these random weird recommendations are there. It would actually prefer if you take the territory out, but that's another discussion. Ancestry does not automatically update the place recommendations for everyone that you're going to attach to the family tree. It is a little frustrating, but it is what it is. So again, if you want to keep your tree clean, take time to adjust the places as you bring them over. Now let me take the time to point out another mess when people add alternative facts that aren't needed. So we've ruled out that this place is not exist. It is a misspelling of this location, but some people will accept the places and then think, oh, well, it could exist, so I'm going to go ahead and put it down there. Before you add something to your tree, research, see if it's necessary. In the case of the conflicting dates, it may take even more research to resolve, so it's okay to add that alternative. But a quick Google search to try to find out if this place exists, or going into the record and seeing if it was a transcription error, can prevent you from adding junk to your family tree. Go ahead and click save, and now you have that hint saved to your family tree. A messy family tree on Ancestry is avoidable if you are careful. Remember to avoid duplicate or unnecessary images and stories, inconsistent place names, or inaccurate facts. The damage happens as you add sources to your family tree without careful consideration and consistency. If you have questions about some challenges you're having on Ancestry, let me know in the comments section as well. I often use your comments to know what videos to make next. Thanks for watching, and if you like that video, be sure to go ahead and click the like button, the share button, and leave a comment, because all of those things help support our channel. And if you're ready for another video about how to use Ancestry, click on the video right there.